So, you know the spiel. Genesis chapter 3, we're just going to jump right in. Uh, if you recall, we were going over how the people were naked. Adam and Eve were naked and not ashamed about it. So this will pick up there. Chapter 3. Now the serpent... Was there a serpent? Did he introduce the serpent? He got no intro. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. So he's subtle. And he said unto the woman, subtly, Yea, yeah, hath God said. It's getting like Shakespearean the way they're having people talk now. Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Question mark. God seems unsure whether they should or not. Or the question mark's a typo. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat. So God's asking, and Eve is saying definitively, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. So either she misunderstood, or she's just trying to put God in her place. Which sounds like a woman to me. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, the serpent's probably telling them that this is what God said. This is like a game of telephone. They're going to totally get this screwed up. Comedy of errors. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, nor shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. So they're having a little argument. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, you'll understand things, and ye shall be as gods, like we are now, knowing good and evil. Okay, so the serpent is telling them that God knows if they eat this, they'll be awesome, and he doesn't want them to be awesome because he wants to be the only awesome one. So the serpent's trying to tempt them with this. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, okay, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, okay, pretty tree, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, which she wanted, even though she probably didn't know what wise was yet, because they were stupid at this point, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, okay, which she didn't even need to, because as soon as she touched it, remember, evil. And gave also unto her husband with her. Who married them? Did God officiate that? Because husband, I didn't know they were married. I thought they were just kind of like live-in, sort of. But apparently there was some kind of ceremony that they didn't want to cover. Anyway, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened. Okay, not literally their eyes, but you have to sometimes, some of these are metaphors, and you have to read between the lines a little bit. They're saying just, metaphorically their eyes were open to things out there. And they knew that they were naked, finally, about time. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves they got needle and thread. They can't just, they're not advanced enough they can make clothes. They still got to be sewing fig leaves together. But I guess that was the fashion at that time. And made themselves aprons. Okay, I guess they're going to be making some apple pie now that they've been introduced to the tree of knowledge. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves, because now they're embarrassed, from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, Adam, got to be careful with their pronouns there. And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. He's like a little 4-year-old kid who got caught, stealing something. He's ashamed now. And he said, pronoun problem, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Wast. Well, they put an extra T on that. Should be that thou was naked. Hast thou, more T's. There's probably one of those things with the keyboard where the T kept popping up when you hit other letters. hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? God is pissed now, you can tell, from all the T's he's adding to words. And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, Eve, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Passing the buck, blame it on the woman, starting a grand tradition of doing that. And the Lord God said unto the woman, okay, so God totally believed Adam, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me. So it's just like chain of command, just moving it back. He did it, she did it, he did it, she did it. Nobody really wants to take the blame for this. And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Okay. So, and the Lord God said unto the serpent, I'll bet the serpent's just going to blame it on Adam. It's going to be a vicious circle. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle. What did the cattle do? That's harsh. They must have done something, and he probably made them not be able to think or talk and stand in their own shit all day. I wish they would have said what they did, though. That probably would have been a good story. Thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. So the cattle and the beast of the field must be different. Who would the beast of the field be? A field, like mice? It's not really a beast. I don't know what beast you'd find in a field, but upon thy belly thou shalt go, and dust shalt thou, so crawl upon thy belly, you will crawl, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. So he's saying now you have to crawl and you have to eat dust. No more apples for you, buddy. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman. Enmity, I think, is anger or bad feelings. And between thy seed and her seed, eggs and sperm, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So hurt head, hurt foot, hurt from head to toe, is what he's saying, in a roundabout way. Unto the woman, he said, so he took them apart secretly, like real world confessional. Didn't want to do it in front of the other one. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. You'll have a lot of babies. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. So every time you get depressed, you will reproduce. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So we're going to see throughout the Bible where certain things started that now we take for granted, like how, men wear the pants, women have to obey everything that we say. This is because at this point God made that happen. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, listen to what she did, and did it anyway, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. So the woman is cursed by having a lot of babies, the man is cursed from eating the ground. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. So while man is crawling through the dust, he's going to be crawling also through thorns and thistles, and he'll also eat some herbs, probably like tarragon. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. If I had a choice between dust and bread all the way. But that's just me. Till thou return unto the ground. In the sweat of thy face. Oh, you can have bread, but only sweaty bread. That's the catch-22. Till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, because man came from the dust of the earth. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. That's the dust to dust that we were talking about. And Adam called his wife's name Eve. Now she finally is officially Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Oh, it's Eve, like the eve of something, like the before the dawn. So she was the Eve. Unto Adam also and to his wife did the Lord God make coats of skins and clothe them. So they have now shed their fig leaves, no more plants for them, now they're only wearing animals. And the Lord God said, behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil, like one of us. So God apparently ate from that tree also at one point. He used to be a little more innocent than he is now as well. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Well, he didn't want that to happen. So, therefore, the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden. They were banished out from the garden to till the ground from whence he was taken. They are now farmers, is their punishment. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, those are cupids, or little angels, and a flaming sword, which turned every way. There's a flaming sword, I think, at the entrance to West Hollywood, too. Like a little welcome to West Hollywood flaming sword. That's, I guess they were making some reference to the Bible when they built that. And a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So even though he didn't want anyone in there anymore, he decided to put a little marker saying, hey, Eden this way. Go figure. But anyway, that's the end of chapter 3. So we got earth and people now and original sin. So it's starting to come together and the story's starting to take shape. And who knows what happens in chapter 4. Probably a lot of you, but I have no idea. So we'll find out.